What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. We're starting a new project today. We got a whole bunch of Skar audio equipment, subwoofers, door speakers, amps, wiring, head unit, basically full-on stereo install on a Chevy pickup truck. If you guys like this content, please right now hit that subscribe button and hit the little bell. Now enough with the chitter chatter, let's get to it. This is in the way in the shop today. If you ever have to put a water pump on one of these, German, Audi, whatever it is here, I would say just probably go ahead and roll it off a cliff somewhere out there instead. So for today, this is taking up space in the shop, so we cannot work on this system that we're supposed to be putting in this truck. Yep, this truck, same truck. It seems like we always work on these trucks. They're popular. The Chevy truck. I don't know what year this one is. Say 02 maybe, something ish. So instead of rolling that out and back in and musical cars everywhere, I think we're just going to take this one here and do a lot of this work outside, which is fine. Supposedly it's going to be a nice week this week, so we're hoping for the best on that. We got a whole bunch of equipment here, Skar audio, pretty much everything through and through. I have not seen the box. He's got a box that he bought and it's underneath the seat right there. I have not taken a better look at that yet. I assume it's one of these Skar boxes, but I don't know. It could be anything. We got 4-channel amps. We got single-channel amps. We got all the door speakers. A dash kit that is extremely extensive for what that does, but that's what he's got. Head unit, a whole bunch of stuff. We'll go through it all, see what all we got here, and see what it's going to take to get it in this white truck right here. All this equipment. He got himself a wiring kit here, I see. This sucker says it'll do up to 4,000 watts on 4-gauge wire. That's what you get from the Elite guys. This is a nice box. Got some plastic handle. Jeez, 4,000 watts on some 4-gauge. That's pretty good. What else we got here? We got the 4-channel RP75.4 AB. I'm guessing that's 75 watts by 4. Here it is. 4 ohm. There you go. That's not bad. And then we got the 1500 RP1500 one. So we got 1500 for the 210s. I think those are 500 RMS a piece, so that's plenty of amp for that. The head unit, Sony XAV-AX5600. There's your model number. I don't know what all it does. I don't know. Back in the 90s, I decided I didn't like Sony anymore. What's this? Oh, he wants me to put a USB outlet on his power source. So this is going to connect to that and come out on the dash. 6.5 coaxials for the doors. TX65s, those are pretty good speakers too. I like the Skar stuff. A lot of people try to dog it out because it's inexpensive, but man, it's all gets good ratings. You know, their amps make good power. The speakers are nice. There's your 4x6s for the B pillar or C pillar, whichever it is on that thing. VD10. Dual 4 ohms, so we should be able to get it down to 1 ohm at the end of the day on this 1500D amp. I went ahead and ordered a few more things, a couple more sets of RCAs for the 4-channel amp, because this stereo supposedly does have front and rear RCAs on it, so that'll be nice. Distribution, 0 gauge in and 4 out, so I will be running 0 gauge. I will be upgrading big 3, big 27, whatever you want to call it. Alternator, battery, ground, all that good stuff will get upgraded in there, and 0 gauge will run back to the distribution block, and 4 gauge to each amp from there, which should be sufficient. Probably going to be pushing somewhere in the neighborhood of about 900 watts or so. With that sealed box, we may push 1,000. We'll just kind of play with that with the amp tuning, see where we like it at. What else did I get? Oh, speaker wire to upgrade for the 4-channel, and got RCA splitter because I also noticed that this stereo, the subwoofer output is a single output, and even with a mono amp, I still like to have both the left and the rights hooked up on the amp. It sounds redundant on a mono block, but that's just the way I am, and that's the way I want to do it. Oh, one other thing. So this box, let's take another look at this box. First off, because I'm a box guy, I gotta say the fitment on this box is pretty nice. It molds around pretty good. What I'm concerned with is the fact that it's a downfire box, and I can tell you there's not much room. There is not much room at all inside here for a subwoofer. I don't know. We'll get it up and see what he's got here. He bought all that equipment in there and this box all together, and I'm gonna make it work for him. I would try to talk him into a little bit more box, a little bit something better. There's not a whole lot more you can do with it other than maybe put smaller speakers in it, but we got the 10s already in there too, so we're gonna see what we can do with it. How do you do that? Is that here? Yeah. Here we go. Oh, it is a Skar. Yep, it is a Skar box. I figured it'd have their logo on it. I don't know if they build their own boxes. I don't know, but they do sell these packages with the box. Yep, 210s downfire box. I thought it had a drop to where we could mount our amp, is what I was told, but it doesn't look like that's the case. It looks like that barely fits. Yeah. There's nowhere for an amp on this box. The seat's gonna fall on it. Do y'all understand how this... There it goes. There it goes. You gotta give it a little wiggle. So this is gonna sit down on the box. How do you make the back end lean up now? Hold on. Surely the back leans up on this thing. I don't know. I have the full 4-door cab, and it's a different seat setup. I also have the Tahoe over there, which is also a different seat setup. Surely this leans up. It looks like a 2-piece setup here. Now I gotta Google how to do that or what? Oh, what's this like? Look at this. What's this? Nope. Maybe got a pull holder. Nope. Does this not move? How do you move the back? Oh my God. Surely it does do that. If not, then I don't know. We probably roll it off the hill next to that Audi down there somewhere. So the back of this seat is made completely stationary. I could probably modify it, but there's very limited space back there. And with this box, what I noticed is that by the time your subwoofer is mounted in here, you've literally got just over an inch of clearance to your cone right here. Now that's not to say this right here's got a hump in it that's kind of taken into account here, but your subwoofer is going to be touching this. Those ones in there have about a 1-inch surround on them. Between the basket and the surround, it's up a good inch off of this, so it's already going to be touching the carpet to start with. So I looked at maybe raising this box up, but as you can see, it's already in the seat as it is. There is no lift this box up. I could slide it forward and then have room to lift it up, but then it's going to stick out all crazy. Talked to the customer. He said, well, why don't you just build me a box? So I think what I'm going to do is 2 separate boxes, and that way solves my issue with not having room to mount the amps. So it'll be 2 separate boxes. The amps will be able to mount on this hump right here, side by side. They'll still be sealed boxes, and I'm going to do the 10s facing out forward and just try to keep everything as flush and tucked in there as I can. So you will not be able to run that box with these subwoofers because they're going to touch the carpet. I don't know whose design that was. I don't know whose idea that was, but nonetheless, it is what it is. So we're building boxes too. So I got to get to it. I got to get all this stuff in there other than the subwoofers and get him up and going, and he'll bring it back to me. I'll probably build the boxes and then let him bring it back to me one day, and we'll slap the subs in and try to get it all buttoned up. So I think for starters, what I want to do is find out exactly where I want my main 0 gauge to come up back here, and probably get started on a bunch of that, getting our under the hood stuff all done, getting our 0 gauge back here, and then we can start playing with amp setup and all that good stuff. So looks like we got options with this diesel. You get 2 batteries. This is if you didn't have a diesel. You would just have this 1 battery here on the driver's side, and because I've done these before and have a system in my head that works good for me, I'm going to use everything from this battery here. Basically we're going to come from the hot on the alternator. That's your charge post basically. We're going to upgrade this. We'll leave the factory one in here. I always leave the factory one in, but I'm going to bring a second one, stack on top of it, 0 gauge, bring it around to the hot on the battery, then go from here to the fuse under the truck with the 0 gauge, and I got a spot where I'm going to pop up. Ground straps will be upgraded as well. We'll have a ground from the battery to the block, maybe here. Ground. You know that's a ground. Battery to the block somewhere will get grounded, and then basically upgrading this little ground strap right there. We'll be upgrading that to a 0 gauge. We'll leave this one sitting here, but we'll do a new ground from chassis. We can either go to battery or to block at that point, whichever one looks easier, funner, whatever. So with the main hot, it's going to go into the truck. I always use these little grommet things. They're made for 0 gauge. They're pretty neat. You can tighten them down. They tighten down and close your wire up on this kind of like rubber gaskety stuff inside here. It comes with a little rubber gasket right there that's going to seal to the body. I like to put a little silicone on it too, just so that I can make a big mess all over myself and my hands and everything. I got a hole popped right here, and I'm going to go underneath and pop this up, and that's my nut that'll hold it on. Where's my hole? There it is. So let's see, ow, if we can get this up here and stay. Yeah. Then our 0 gauge will come. 0 gauge will come right up through that hole from the battery. Now, see if I can get it to tighten up in here. All right, that's good and tight. Heading down here with all the factory harness and this probably bully dog or some kind of tuner thing comes out. Boy, oh boy, I've been spoiled on that shop, but nonetheless, comes out right here with all these other wires. I'll get us some zip ties on this. I may put some wire loom in a couple spots. That's got us all the way up into the floor. You can see where I put some extra silicone on that. And then this little cap nut right here, you tighten it down real good. But when you tighten that big nut up, it cinches down on the wire, and it's got another seal inside there that seals it. We got plenty of wire in here. That'll get us over to our little distribution block, and then they'll split off for both the amps. So that's our main hot. That'll have our hot taken care of. We'll be getting started on this big 3 stuff. I'm not doing a whole lot of recording out here. It's windy. Been spoiled having the shop, but we're outside today. We're winging it. We're winging it. I'm gonna get some more of these wires run up in here, and we'll come back at you. So pretty much got this wrapped up. Big 3, 5, 9, she fine, all done. I'm gonna have to get some adapters for these. I've seen some of these little adapters you can put on here. Gives you an extra lug. I really can't get this to fit in behind there and catch enough threads that I'm comfortable with. So both the positive and the negative on this battery, I'll run and pick up some adapters on those. We got the hot going through the fuse right here. No fuse in it, obviously. Runs under the truck. Still got to do some tidying up and some sheathing on that. We went from the alternator. Normally I would come all the way back to the battery, but this truck, all these Chevy trucks have this little connector here. This is where your factory alternator wire, which is this little fella in the back. Let's see if I can get a better shot of that. So this is your factory charge wire. This is our upgraded charge wire, obviously. Now, the reason I just went to that and didn't come all the way back to the battery, this truck does have 2 batteries. Both of them have a fairly large wire going to them. Distributes off of this right here, basically. Runs around into this big bunch of wires and comes up on this battery here with the, I'm guessing 1300 watts between both these amps. Going to be pushing. This is probably overkill for what he needs on this, so I think using these right here, when he's got two of them coming off this one big one, it's basically split into two other, what is that, 4 gauge probably 1 0 splitting off to 2 4s, charging both batteries from there. I think that's the best way to do it with this truck, so that you're not just dragging everything from one battery, and just getting a good charge for both of them that way. Oh, and our grounds, doubled up our ground right here. That's our main strap that goes block to body right there on that factory stud. Basically upgraded this little braided one, and to the battery from that same ground right there. Boom, boom. That's got all of our wiring, hot and ground, pretty much taken care of up to the back. We still got to put in our distribution block back here, but I got this where it needs to go. Basically somewhere in here we'll put our distribution block and splitter it off to the 2 amps that are going to end up sitting in here. So I did get these little adapters. Some of them you buy are cheap and they break real easy, but these ones seem to be a little bit better. So basically it's just a bolt that replaces this bolt in here and gives you a spot to stick an extra wire on top of it. And then you can swap this bolt out. I am digging this outdoor stuff, let me tell you. Nice and hot and sunny and gravelly, and to heck with an old shop, you know. Who needs them? We got the adapters on the battery post that allows you to put a second wire on there. I did cut the back side of this rubber where it seats against the battery. I cut just a little bit of that off to make it easier to get the original little bolt out and put that double studded thing through there. Got some loomage in a few spots here. Climb up under here. I got it zip tied up tight where it's not going anywhere with the original factory harness there, and then it tucks in here. It's got the loom all over it everywhere. It's got to pass through all this stuff. Comes back out the other side again with the factory harness and up through the floor through our grommet. So now all the 0 gauge stuff is done. We can start tearing apart all this. Gotta get the dash out. Gotta get all 4 door panels off. Wait a minute, we're not taking the dash out. We're just taking this little plastic trim piece here off. Some of this back has to come apart. We may not have to take these B-pillar pieces off. Take all these kick panels, what is this, kick panels, rocker, whatever. All this plastic stuff's coming off, so let's get to it. So before I get in here and tear all this stuff apart, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get this wire harness made up for the radio, so I got everything ready, and then get in here and start tearing stuff up. Let's see, wire harness, let's find radio. What is that, double din, single double, double single? I don't know what you call that. That's real cute. So we'll see, I'm gonna get this harness made up. I love this little soldering gun I got. Self-feeding. Ching, 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 ching. Turn on, on. Go all the way on all this wire. It may make it. Ooh, I think it's gonna go. Go, go, go. There it is. This is for the reverse. Make your backup camera come on. We do not have a backup camera, so I just plugged it off there. And there you have it. That's gonna be our adapter. This is gonna plug into the back of the Sony head unit. And this is supposed to fit what's in the dash of that truck. Get in here, take the truck apart, and hopefully this right here is plug and play, new head unit in the dash. All right, I'm gonna wrap this one up right here. We're at a good stopping point with it. If you liked the video, please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell so you know when the next episode comes out. We're gonna be tearing into the interior on this thing and getting all this equipment installed. So stay tuned.